Hi, welcome all to Oracle Database 12c Upgrade Best Practices webinar. This is Santosh, Oracle Alliance Manager at Atlas Systems. I'm going to quickly go through the agenda for today. Atlas System overview will be given by Jayant Godse, Executive Vice President at Atlas Systems. 12c Upgrade Process and Best Practices will be given by Jim Alesi, Database Management Expert for Atlas Systems. Oracle solution that complements 12c database will be given by Chris Brilante from Oracle Corp. He's the principal solution consultant at Oracle. And comprehensive approach and proactive measures while we do the upgrade will be given by Santosh, myself, Oracle Alliance Manager at Atlas Systems. Then we'll have a Q&A. Thank you. Looking forward to see you have a wonderful session out here. Over to Jay. Thanks.
Welcome all to the webinar on upgrading to Oracle 12c. My name is Jayant Godse and I am the Executive Vice President for Atlas Systems. It's with great pleasure that I will be present this webinar to you. We have a distinguished panel of guests today. Jim Alesi, who has been working with us for a very extensive period of time and who has all the know-how of Oracle 12c, and we have representation from Oracle as well. Before we go on to upgrading to Oracle 12c, a quick word about Atlas Systems. Atlas Systems is a 12-year-old company located here in Princeton, New Jersey. We offer IT services and IT-enabled services, as well as some of our proprietary compliance products. We specialize in multiple domains: manufacturing, healthcare, telecom, banking, and finance. We have clients that range from medium-sized companies to large Fortune 500 or even Fortune 10 companies. We're located in Princeton, New Jersey. We have multiple offices. We have over 9 locations across the world. We have 2 centers in India. With a strong force of 450 technical resources, we are very well qualified and growing. Some of our leading clients: Discovery Communications, Envision, Emblem Health, and then Bradstreet, and amongst others, we have some other Fortune 10 companies as well. And we've done significant amount of work over the past 12 years and have gained tremendous expertise in executing database and database-related projects for them. Now, before further ado, I would like to introduce you to Jim, who will take you on to why and hows of upgrading to Oracle 12c.
Hi, my name is Jim Alesi. I'm a database expert for Atlas Systems, and today's presentation will be on upgrading your database to Oracle 12c. Things we'll be covering is why even do the upgrade to 12c? What am I going to get for it? What are the various ways I can do my upgrade? And the biggest one I think most of you are concerned about are how can I ensure that if I take on this upgrade that I'm going to be 100% successful? And Atlas Systems can help partner with you and ensure that this upgrade is 100% successful. Some of the biggest reasons, just you can read the bullet points, but why upgrade? Definitely there's stability factor going up to 12. Functionality, there's some new functionality that was only available formerly on the Exadata platforms, now are available on your servers that you have in-house or thinking about purchasing. And probably one of the bigger reasons is the cost of supporting the old 11 version versus going to 12c. Some other reasons are Oracle maintains a direct upgrade ability for 3 major releases. So if you're back on 10.2 and newer, you'll be able to upgrade directly. But if you're older than 10.2 or off a patch version, that upgradability is going to be non-existent for you. Also, the support of the latest Oracle products. You know, that's one of the bigger things. If you're looking at taking advantage of something that's in EBS 12, you know, you're not going to get that functionality or be able to install that 11. You'll have to upgrade to 12C. A couple terms that I'm going to talk through are upgrades and migrations. And when you talk about upgrades, that's one term. When we talk about migrating, that's another term. In the next few slides, I'll be going through that with you. So as we're going through these slides, a couple things I want you to think about as we're going through them is, how is my infrastructure? Are my servers that I'm currently on, are they supported with 12C or by 12C? Is my, you know, are they owned or leased? Are they fast enough? Are they big enough? Do they have enough memory? SAN also, you know, if you get a big enough database, you may be leasing your SAN, or you may be leasing your SAN in general because it's more cost effective. And also, do you have enough space in that SAN? Am I maxed out? Do I have enough room for my growth? And the last thing that some people kind of forget about are my web servers or my application servers that are sitting out there. You know, do they have enough memory? Are they running the fastest network cards in my network? You know, as we're going to go through this upgrade, you know, should I be looking at those pieces to make sure I'm not creating a bottleneck or a throughput, you know, a problem for me? Upgrades, when we're talking about upgrades, we're talking about taking the hardware that you currently have and just installing 12C to it. You know, there are positives to that. You know, if my hardware was bought big enough and it's new enough and it supports the 12C version, that may be an option for you. But if you're sitting there going, you know, my servers are kind of old, maybe I want to go to a rack install instead of a single instance. You know, a lot of things to play into this when we're planning out this migration or upgrade to 12C. So, you know, maybe we may be a Windows operating system right now, and we're looking to going to Linux. So that's really the big two differentiators in between when we start talking about upgrades and migrations. You know, typical actions that are taken part of an upgrade. You know, we're going to add and drop columns. We may be creating new packages or procedures. You know, we may be modifying existing packages. You know, we may be dropping database objects altogether because they're obsolete, they're no longer used. We're cleaning up our database a little bit. You know, we may be changing some rules, roles, users' privileges, things like that. You know, and we may be using, you know, modifying other parts of the database as well. The term migration really applies to when we're starting to not just put on new software. You know, we're looking at our servers, we're looking at our storage architecture. You know, we may be changing from, you know, an older character set to UTF-8 because that's really what our web servers or our web environment performs. You know, we may be looking also at doing some schema changes. You know, are we going to start partitioning off some of our larger tables so those queries don't take as long? Or do we have some type of, you know, compliancy requirement that we have to look at using encryption or even possibly compressing indexes and things like that for performance? So when we start talking about that, we're really looking at using the word migration versus upgrade. You know, selecting the method on how you're going to do your upgrade will probably be one of the most challenging points that you have. You know, back through my experience, the only way you really did it is you went out and you exported your database and you imported it into your new database. But you know, times have changed, and there's a lot of new things out there that can actually help you, you know, plan and test that deployment. You know, to make sure that you're successful. Now, Oracle, this is off the Oracle site, and Oracle actually has a pretty good chart here as far as what version you're currently on, and you know what type of method that you could use. So this chart is really helpful when you get back and you start doing your analysis. Can I just do a direct upgrade? I'm not changing out my hardware, so I'm just going to do a direct upgrade. Oh, sorry, you're on 10.2.04. You got to use another method, or you have to patch yourself up the whole way to 11.2.02 to be able to do that direct support. That direct upgrade. And that may be something that you don't want to do, that you're going to have to run through all those patch versions, have to test each one of those patch versions, versus just going directly to 12c. So some of the new methods that they've come out with, I don't know if you've seen these or not, but the database upgrade assistant, excuse me, that's been around for a little bit, but they've really enhanced it here in 12c, as well as giving it a command line interface. So anything that you can do from the database assistant, you can also do from the command line. So you could actually script your update or your migration or your update or upgrade. Some of the other less notable ones are the full transportable table spaces and table space upgrades. Have not had great success with those personally, but they are available, and if they're tested and planned, that may be an option for you. And then there's the new data pump, which came out in 10, as well as the old import-export utility that still exists out there for you to use. So, we've answered the questions. We figured out whether we're doing an upgrade or we're going to do a migration. Some things that you want to look at also are, do I have an Oracle application, such as Enterprise Business Suite or Life Sciences package or some other package that Oracle produces, or do you have a third-party developed package, or do you have an in-house developed custom-written application? The other part of this is selection of the upgrade method. And one thing I can't stress upon enough in our work with our 12c upgrades has been really getting that sandbox environment. When we start talking about a sandbox environment, we're talking about either the server class that we're going to go to in production when we do roll out, or a match to what we currently have in production that we can do one-to-one testing on, or apples-to-apples testing. If your application, was developed by Oracle, it would be suggested that, you upgrade that application at the same time that you're doing your 12c upgrade. If you're a third-party application, and, you don't own the rights to the source code, you really need to contact the vendor and see what they suggest. Do they have a matching version for 12c, or do they have a series of patches that will get you up to 12c? In-house applications are a little bit more tricky, because what you really need to do is inventory your code base. And it's just not your procedures and your functions. It's going to be your triggers. It's going to be your views. If you have materialized views, if you're using the queuing functionality with inside Oracle as well, you really need to take a look at all that code, inventory it, do an inventory on it, see if you're using any of the system procedures that are provided as part of the database, and looking at for what's changed, what's been deprecated, what's been moved from one package to another. And Oracle has some really good website information out there to help you do that. Here in Atlas, we've been through a couple of these already, and we've helped individuals do that in-house inventory of their code base. Selecting the server to become your sandbox. The big thing there is making sure it's either the same as what you're currently on, or it's what you're going to when you migrate to that next server class, that next server machine. The big things are testing this upgrade methodology, documenting your steps, determining how long it's going to take, identifying any issues, resolving those issues. Or it may be, this isn't going to work for us. We're going to have to find a different method to do this. And here at Atlas, our consulting or our analysis can help you come up with the best solution, and maybe keep that circular thing there. Oh, this didn't work. This worked. And you may have to use one method for one part of your database and another method for another part of your database, depending on what you're doing. And again, retesting this method until everyone is comfortable with the process, so you are ensured that you are successful with your upgrade. Custom apps, or apps that have custom extensions, even with Oracle EBS, you could have written some custom extensions for yourself to do some things, or you have a whole custom application. The biggest part there is going to be inventorying your code base, like I talked about in the previous slide, because signatures do change, procedures do move around in packages. And you may have to make some modifications to your custom code or not. If you're not using something that's changed, you're golden. It compiles, you're good. It's one of those things that you think you've caught everything, and during your testing, you're going to do some you're going to compile the database, and you're going to find something that you missed. But the biggest thing is getting those changes, getting your database stable to where you have a clean compile of everything inside the database. And this is also a good time to clean up your database as well. You may have some packages and some procedures and functions out there, and views and triggers that you don't remember why you wrote them, and they're not being used anymore. Let's get them out of the database during this sandbox testing as well, so we can do some house cleaning. Now, one part that we've seen here at Atlas and in some of our endeavors with our clients have been, we're so concentrated on the database that we really don't think about the other things that connect to the database. We're familiar with our Oracle Webs forms and things like that. We know those are going to work because we've paired them up, we've matched them up with their version, and we're good. But there are other things out there. What about the guy what about the employee that uses Microsoft Excel with a JDBC driver to come in and query the database? Oracle drivers for our developers, JDBC drivers for Java applications. If some of you use queuing, do I have a Java JMX out there? Or do I use MSMQ or WebSphere or something like that? So as we're going through this, kind of inventory of our code, we also need to think about those other parts that touch our database. Those external applications or external customers that come into the database. Regression testing. I know from experience here, regression testing is sometimes not thought of while we're doing one of these migrations, but now is really a good time with the new features and functionality that are part of 12c. It's a really good time to take a step back and really do regression testing on our total application, whether that be Oracle EBS, whether that be a third-party application, or something written in-house. It's really a good time to make sure that what's functioning in production functions in our sandbox at 100%. The other part of this is, some of us have some APIs written against our systems, whether that just be a procedure call, whether we're generating XML, whether we've used, the HTTP stuff or the SOAP messaging stuff with inside of Oracle. Now's a good time to take a look at those and make sure those are tested as well. Our current production environment, the one thing that we need to make sure of when we take a look at this and making sure that we're successful is, we look at our procedures, functions, views, triggers. We look at the APIs that are either, using Oracle's internal HTTP stack or SOAP, or the queuing, whatever it may be, but we're really testing those as well. We're testing file load times and file processing times as well. Sandbox testing, again, we're looking at testing the whole environment not or the whole ecosystem of our database. We're looking at really testing, walking through things, because one of the things that you see and what we've seen in Atlas when we're coming off a 10 database and we're going to 12, plans change, things change, indexes, how they work. Yes, it's an index, but sometimes things have changed a little bit as we're going up through versions, and we may need to tweak some of our code to get the performance that we're looking for. Also, our file load times, whether that's SQL loaded in or ETL'd. What we want to do is we want to take file A from production, run that in production, get some timings on it, and run file B or file A, not file B, on our sandbox. We want to be comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges. The other thing is, making sure that we are processing, as I said before, that if we're processing in production, take that same file and process that down, in Q or in our sandbox environment. The other thing is, you know, our websites and things like that. Let's walk through the same steps that people do on a daily basis. Not let's just use random data. Let's actually take some real data and pump that through there if we can. After we've been through all these steps of testing and documenting, we've reached a point of decision. Patches to the OS, are those 100% up to speed? Are our drivers up to date? We should have our steps documented, and Atlas can help you with that documentation of those steps as we help you through this process as well. So, basically there will be a deployment plan. There will be a step-by-step checklist developed to make sure that when we go to that rollout in production, that we've tested everything thoroughly and we've documented those steps. Application installation is the same thing. If we're upgrading an Oracle app, great. We know we're compatible with 12c, but if we have something either in-house or a custom extension written or a third party, we need to make sure that we have those either new procedures there, a column with change, whatever it may be. We have those fixes in script form that we can apply on the night of our production deployment. And really, two questions that you have to ask after you've been through all your testing and your regression and your timings, is the functionality that I have unbroken? What I was doing on 11, am I still doing on 12, and is it working the same? And you have to have the answer yes, obviously, or you need to find out what's broken and get her fixed. And then the biggest one, I think, what we're hearing here at Atlas is, I went through this upgrade, I put the software on, and my performance just isn't what it was. And we'll get through some test cases, some case studies here in the back that clients actually tried to go off and do the install by themselves, and then came to Atlas and partnered with us to help them through this, through the upgrade and migration process. And we'll get to those in a little bit here later in the presentation. So an idea on timeline here, timeline of existing migration to new hardware or an OS version. Excuse me. The upgrade methodology testing on average is about 7 days. Have seen that go out to about 10 because we did some homework, or the client did some homework. They thought we could go down this route with the upgrade or the migration. But really, we're looking at about 7 days to really get that migration, or upgrade process. How does it work? What are our steps? How do we document it? How long is it going to take, etc. About 7 days. On average, regression testing, we're looking at about 14 days to actually go through and regression test, our application, whether it be, Oracle, a third party, or an in-house. And then probably the last step, which is metrics testing, and that's where we're really taking, the file that was processed in production and running that back into QA or back into our sandbox. And the other thing is maybe we have APIs that are XML files that come at us uh, through an API. We need to take that same file and process that back into the sandbox environment, as well as our web testing or our forms testing. Running that as it was in production, going through production like or production exactly alike, data, and running that back through into our sandbox, and make sure our timeline is matching what our current production is, or better than what current production is. And what we're hoping is you're going to see better than current production. Some of these have taken shorter amounts of time, and some of them have taken larger amounts of time. But again, this is just kind of a baseline of how long what your time frame's looking like to actually do a migration to a new hardware platform. Now, these are the two case studies I talked to you a little bit about earlier. The electrical processing manufacturer, their upgrade just failed. They tried to go and do it themselves. They thought they had the in-house experience to do that, and it failed on them. And they actually came to Atlas. They weren't clients of ours. Came to us, and we sat down at the table with them, went through an analysis process with them, worked with them on their upgrade methodology, worked with them on their regression testing, and got them to be a successful 12C upgrade. Another case study is a university went off and did their upgrade in place upgrade of 12G to 11G to 12C. After 2 weeks, they had to roll back. Again, not clients of Atlas, but came to Atlas looking for help. And we were able to get them back up in their 12C environment with their performance where they were looking for it to be. And that goes back to not a huge amount of time spent in testing in either one of these case studies. And here at Atlas, that is going to be your key to whether your upgrade is successful or your migration is successful. To 12C is the amount of time that you really spend, in that methodology of figuring out what method works best for me to do this upgrade or migration, and as well as what time I invest in my testing, and really getting down into that, not just the functionality testing to make sure things work, but getting into that metrics testing. Is my performance the same on the database version I'm coming from to this new version? And if there's not, let's take a look and see what's going on. And that's what these two companies came in and were looking for us. Well, university and a company came looking to us here at Atlas for help to get them back onto their 12C where they needed to be to take advantage of some of these new upgrades or updates and functionality to the product. And with that, I'll turn the presentation over to Chris.
Thank you, Jim, for your presentation. Hello, my name is Chris Merlante. I'm a principal sales consultant at Oracle in the North America Channels Group. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the advantages of running Oracle 12C on Oracle systems and Oracle storage. Today, the advantages of running Oracle 12C on Oracle hardware. I want to tell you a little bit more about a project we've been working on for the last 5 years, which is moving this smart database platform all the way to the CPUs. We recently announced the new SPARC M7 CPU at Oracle OpenWorld this past October. This has taken our hardware and software engineers 5 years to develop this CPU. It's been quite a journey because it's hard. And we're not afraid of hard things. If you look at our server processor history, roughly speaking, 20 years ago was the beginning of 64-bit computing. And 10 years ago, roughly, cores and threads and virtualization burst into the scene. Well, what we did, and this is a unique benefit that Oracle has as a combined software and hardware company, is we took a set of ideas we built a microarchitecture simulations when we then chose the most promising ideas and we coded them in the language that you build processors on. And we can run full simulations on top of these. Okay, so now there's 3 classes of algorithms that we worked on with the Harvard team to embed in the M7 CPU. One is database acceleration. So we put this database accelerators directly in the chip. So we can run database algorithms and specialized processors directly in the chip, much faster than we can do with conventional CPU cores. Another part is getting more capacity into the same chip. And the third part is getting much more secure environment for the in-memory database. So we've been actually shipping this in our 12C database product since earlier this year. And as soon as you deploy this chip, it basically comes alive. So it's not something you have to wait for. We have all these algorithms embedded in the currently shipping database, and it's there, just ready to go. So first of all, database accelerators. So we have this new database in-memory algorithms. They're extremely fast algorithms. And on conventional chips, we've integrated with something called vector processing. So normal chips have these things called vector units, which we put there for graphics acceleration. And we've taken advantage of those in our in-memory database. Very, very fast. On the Spark M7 chip, we said, okay, it's great that we have these vector processors in there, but those aren't really what we wanted. Those are really put there for graphics. Let's put in what we want. And what we want is not some instructions of some kind that runs stuff in the vectors. What we really want to do is hand off the work to the processors. So we want specialized coprocessors. We want 32 of these specialized coprocessors on the chip that we can hand the database work to. So for example, in a very simple example, I'm searching for orders that were ordered in California. And I want to hand that data, and I want to tell the processor, hey, my order's over there. Search all that, find the ones that apply to California, and return me the results when you're done. So that kind of work that we've done with the database accelerators that are directly into the processors is amazing. It's basically small coprocessors that optimize to run simple database functions, but they run extremely fast, and that we can hand this work off to. In the meantime, we go off and process other parts of the query, and then when it returns, we put the whole thing together. So we're basically freeing up the basic CPU. So that's the kind of algorithms we built directly on the chip. And the beauty of these algorithms is they are very specialized to run just database functions. And they take up very little chip real estate. So we've added 32 equivalent database processors on these chips, and we've only used 1% of the chip real estate. So because they're highly specialized, highly optimized, you can do it with almost no overhead on the entire chip. It's almost no cost. It's basically free on the chip to do this dramatic acceleration. And this works perfectly with 12C. It was designed to work with Oracle 12C. So, secure silicon memory really started this concept of how do I protect in-memory arrays? And then the database team worked on this. They quickly realized that this particular idea was way bigger than a database that we could use to secure kernel modules against a compromised attack. We could use it to help people develop software. We could use it in production for applications that nobody knows, understands, or can fix again. So we generalized it. The goal here is to protect data in memory. Again, the idea is simple. We have a set of keys that relate to memory access. Now, for those of you who say you're thinking about this, gosh, I'll write a program and try different keys, you don't get access to those. They're so hidden in the hardware, and no application, nor does the operating system have availability to change those keys, except when the hardware is allocating memory. So this is very protective system for memory access. Will protect you against latent problems that you don't know about, because in fact the attacker or the program bugs that haven't hit all the testing you've done in the millions of hours. This is a big, huge win for protecting in-memory database, especially for the new 12c product. So here's an example of a very large online retailer that was a beta tester of our M7 product. And what they found when they turned on and off the database accelerators, which is the data analytics query accelerators, they did a set of queries around their product category, and they got 83 times improvement in the responses of the query. That's comparing the software in Silicon in memory to running their database on an all-flash storage. So 83 times. Now, I don't believe all you're going to see this, but even this customer, some had queries that were faster. What happens is when the data gets bigger, the advantages get larger. On smaller data sets, you won't see as much of improvement because the efficiency in the coprocessor isn't scanning as much memory. But on the larger 12c data sets, you're going to get a tremendous performance boost on very simple queries. Now, this also translates into how do we just have a million servers in our data center. So we have a team that took a real set of customer workloads that are a combination of analytics and OLTP. So they have some things that are OLTP and some things that are analytics. And they take and reproduce the same query rate with the T7 processor. And what they found was in this particular application, and this is not a regular benchmark, but the team was asked to make it real. It's a terabyte database, and we think that's pretty realistic. As databases get bigger, the advantages grow. So a terabyte database, like I said, is pretty realistic. We're able to achieve exactly the same combination of OLTP transaction rate of 180 cores of an HP on 32 cores of a T7 server. So 180 cores versus 32. Since the analytics are largely offloaded by the coprocessor in terms of scans, we can safely combine both workloads onto the same box. And since we're able to have more compressed memory, we can put the entire database into 120 gigabytes, even though it's a terabyte. So we think this is a perfect example of engineering SQL in Silicon. Again, this is something we've worked on for a long time with the 12c database. So our philosophy is a balanced design. We just don't add a bunch of cores and not change the memory bandwidth. We lowered the memory latency, we lowered the cache latency, we doubled the memory bandwidth, we tripled the I/O bandwidth to improve coherency function. Everything about the chip is improved. And so that makes a combination we think is a massive breakthrough in system and processor design. Starting with taking a step in security, the secured Silicon memory and the encryption acceleration, having built all the software in Solaris, and then the databases and so on take advantage of those by incorporating SQL and Silicon. And we have offload engine for a common operation. So the data analytics accelerator has the ability to use memory more effectively. And then, and that combination is just classic, very high performance processor. So we can give you the fastest processor, and you may not care about that, but I believe you will care about your security in memory, especially if you use the 12c in-memory option. So just here's a picture of software in Silicon. It's very interesting. People think, about Oracle as a software company. What has happened as a software company? We have the ability to understand what problems to go solve. And we picked up the pace of Silicon development. This is now our 6th processor in 5 years, more to come. But this is historic because this is where we break the code with putting software functions into the Silicon in the processor. in addition to big leaps in performance, there's going to be more to come. And another thing we've done here is we really matured our ability to develop and deliver all the software at the same time. So we announced a complete new family of servers. These are the world's fastest processors and the world's most secure, with memory protection and incredible encryption, acceleration, software built into silicon and data analytics and accelerators. We have tremendous scalability all the way up to 4,000 threaded systems. So whether you sample by the drink or through the cloud, or you need to run the largest on-premise infrastructure in the world, we have a plan that can give you exceptional performance, security, and efficiency. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the Oracle storage strategy as it relates to the 12c database. Oracle delivers the fastest and most efficient storage systems for a heterogeneous data center environment. Oracle advancements that make the Oracle software run the fastest and most efficiently. To address all these challenges, Oracle has a different and better approach than any of our storage competitors in the marketplace. Only Oracle is co-engineering hardware and software together from the application to the archive, breaking down traditional barriers between the database and storage in order to have databases that are storage aware and storage that is database aware. We see the world through the eyes of the database administrator. The database and the application, we look at that directly. Where can we solve the problem? We therefore aim to make solutions that create less cycles for your compute resources, that enable you to store less data and optimize your data storage infrastructure, that simplify your overall IT environment. This is distinctly different from a competitor who sees the world through four walls of a physical box. Others can integrate, some can optimize, only Oracle can co-engineer. Here is our ZFS storage family. This is our flagship NAS product. It has high performance and low latency, and it's designed to work with our Oracle software products. This is the 5th generation of our NAS product line. The ZS series of storage empowers database administrators and your IT staff with Enterprise Manager integration. Using the tools they use already for their database management and monitoring, they can do self-service monitoring and provisioning of the ZS series through Enterprise Manager directly. This includes setting alerts and doing reporting, all through a single pane of glass, a common interface. I'm going to talk to you about the following 3 software features that are designed to work with the Oracle 12c database. Oracle Intelligent Storage Protocol, OISP, Hybrid Columnar Compression, HCC, Advanced Database Optimization, ADO. So Oracle Intelligent Storage Protocol is a great example of co-engineering unattainable by other storage vendors because it opens a direct line of communication between the database and the ZFS storage so that critical metadata is passed to the storage with the information about the incoming database so that the storage can dynamically set up and tune itself on the fly to optimize the storage for precise incoming data. This represents a unique form of dynamic database to storage automation. This capability is only available on the ZFS storage appliance running the Oracle Database 12c. Oracle Intelligent Storage Protocol is tremendous co-engineering advantage for ease of use and simplification. First off, OISP enables the storage to respond directly to the incoming data, literally pre-tuning and pre-configuring itself to the database. I mentioned previously that our analytics can see containers and PDB level details. And OSIP is a mechanism by which that occurs. With that type of insight, the database, we can ID database-related storage issues with over 60% fewer steps than the competition. Oracle Storage is a position of knowing while everyone else is just guessing. That just makes sense since we know the entire red stack. So with OSIP, manual storage configuration tuning is reduced by about 65%, eliminating potential human error, and while accelerating performance. If one looks at the total storage administrator time spent tuning storage for optimal database performance, using OISP can reduce that from a total of 56 days down to 19 days. Look at it another way. OISP literally frees up administrators' resources by 3x to spend time on revenue-generating activities, or the same number of admins can get 3 times the work done. We can tune and optimize hundreds or thousands of databases automatically. Hybrid Columnar Compression, also known as HCC, is a feature that was developed in our Exadata product and for the Oracle 11g R2 database. HCC is also supported on the 12c database. This data warehouse example shows a 735 gigabyte database compressed down to 38 gigabytes. And you can run queries on the compressed database 8 times faster than on the non-compressed database. This is a free feature that is available in all our storage. This is not a licensable feature. It comes free included with the storage, and it works only with the Oracle database. So to speak of our management tools, let's talk about automation. I mentioned the performance and the benefits of HCC and the capacity. In addition to ease of use and capability, we've introduced with Database 12c is automatic data optimization, which when used in conjunction with hybrid columnar compression, provides customers with the ability to compress data and also tier it exactly when the data is best suited for it, based on heat maps that are tracking real-time usage patterns. So you could set the background policies based on real-time usage, time is saved, guesswork is eliminated. So the hot data would stay in your uncompressed, and then the cooler data would be compressed, and then the really cold data would be compressed, and you could archive it. So that's how automatic data optimization works. Now I'd like to talk to you about our enterprise flash storage. It's called the FS1 product. All flash Oracle FS1 storage enables you to maximize Oracle database storage efficiently and reduce costs. The all-flash FS1 is the only flash storage system that supports hybrid columnar compression. We can reduce static Oracle database data by 10x to 50x. The only all-flash system that maximizes Oracle 12c automatic data optimization value with HCC, and we can automate compression based on usage. We can reduce the dev test storage by 10x, or by using writable snapshots with virtually no storage consumption, created almost instantaneously. The FS1 can maximize the value of the Oracle database 12c pluggable database. All the FS1 flash storage performance needed when multiple databases are consolidated. Bottom line, with the all-flash FS1, you buy and manage 50 to 90% less storage than non-Oracle all-flash storage. Savings that our competition can't beat. Here's just a quick overview of our storage product portfolio. As you can see, we have our SAN storage, which is our FS1 product, our NAS storage, which is our ZFS product. And we also have a zero data loss recovery appliance, which is a groundbreaking data protection solution that tightly integrates with the Oracle database. And we have our STK tape product line for deep archive. Thank you for listening to today's webcast. I appreciate the time.
Hi, I'm Santosh, Manager Oracle Alliance and Relationships at Atlas Systems. I'm here to give you a quick overview of what, according to Atlas Systems, is a database upgrade as a project. For us, it's not just moving from one version to another. Even for the customers, they never look at it as a project where they would like to move from one version to another, and that's not the goal. It's an opportunity to re-architect and address the future needs. What would customers would like to have for the next 3 to 5 years is something which we would like to forecast, see, and get those things aligned in such a way that customers' performance and manageability of that particular environment is going to be seamless for the next 3 years or maybe 5 years. What we do out here is eliminate those inefficient processes, tools, and technologies, and try to see how we could reshuffle the entire system in such a way that it addresses all the challenges and needs for the future. Also help understand how to save costs and take advantage of things that makes more sense. Maybe cloud, or probably in a new hardware, or an engineered system, or probably remove some of the things which does not make sense. Those are things which we do. And as part of that, we come up with a project plan and execution. We try to help the customer from licensing best practices and also license cost negotiation best practices. Because while we decide about a project, we also think about how to procure the licenses, how to stay compliant, what are the new things which we have to do, and how to procure those licenses in a cost-effective manner, and what are those licenses that we have to procure. So those are some of the questions which also comes into picture while they decide about a project. So we have been doing a couple of other presentations for our customers, and I'll just give you a quick overview of how that could be incorporated for a database upgrade project. So licensing best practices, you could think about how and what kind of licenses you could procure, which is necessary, what are the additional tools and technology that would make sense, and what is the shuffle that I do in my environment from hardware perspective, which would require new licenses, and is there a golden gate which is necessary? Is there an ODA box which has to be deployed? So there are a lot of other questions which could be answered as part of the licensing best practices, and how to stay compliant is the most important thing. And that's where a lot of customers do miss out and pay a heavy price to get rid of their non-compliance issues. And second thing is license cost negotiation best practices. While you've decided that you have to go with specific set of licenses, how to get the best price for that from Oracle. Every customer I used to hear that they feel that 35% discount is a great thing, but we have come up with a specific methodology which will help customers to get the maximum discount for their specific procurement. And we have seen a difference of 10 to 15% more discounts being given while they adopt our methodology. So we could also go over that while we are looking at your project plan and execution. So some of the proactive measures that most of the customers do look at are, what are the tools that they can deploy, decide on which tool is appropriate for their business. While we propose, we do not specifically say that, yes, this is the product you have to go with. We also say that probably this is a product which will not be a fit for you. One of the financial services company based out of California, we said ODA is not a fit for their environment. We also have a case study where I'll talk about where we said to a customer that Golden Gate is not a fit for their database upgrade project. So can be rest assured that while we analyze and assess your requirements and priorities, we would give you the right suggestions. And but yes, definitely those things are some of the proactive things that you could definitely look at by looking at various different parameters such as downtime. So downtime is a great factor when it comes while you decide about having rack or Golden Gate, and how seamless your database upgrade should be is a point where you have to decide about whether to invest on rack or real application testing or not. That's a great product, but still, that should be a thoughtful decision which has to be made whether to invest on that technology or not. Again, ODA is just like every customer to think about ODA, but when it actually makes real sense for a customer is something which we have to assess and decide. So there is a 20-point questionnaire which we have prepared based on which we assess exactly whether ODA is fit for a customer or not, whether the customer would make most sense out of most advantage out of ODA is something which we go through meticulously and help them with the decision through the process. And the other thing which a customer would like to do is change their operating system from Red Hat Linux to Oracle Linux. This is something which is evident throughout, and definitely we can help you with that too, because one of the customers told me that, I'm moving from Red Hat to Oracle just for the SR purpose, because when I go to Oracle with a service request for my database environment, they point it's a Red Hat problem. But while I move to Oracle Linux, because Linux is going to be one and the same, be it Red Hat or Oracle. So for my database environment, I use Oracle Linux because I can route all my SRs to Oracle and get done with it. That's much more seamless. So we can definitely look at that as well based on your priorities. So data growth, how much are you going to grow? Kind of resource bandwidth. For the data growth that you're looking at, what kind of resource that you have to support the database system, and how critical is your application? What's the window that it can afford in terms of downtime? Which is 3 hours, 4 hours. Some of the customers have 2 days, which is the weekend. Some of the customers do it overnight, like 9 a.m. to morning, say 6 a.m. before the system gets up and running. So for each and every customer, the scenario, the methodology changes. Some of the customers will have real application clusters. Some of the customers do not have real application clusters, or they would have a DR. They would not have a DR or standby system to fail over. So based on the kind of architecture that you are having and you are trying to plan to have, we would tweak the process and help you with the way that you could go ahead to get your database upgrade to be much more seamless. So here's a case study where we help the customer save from licensing standpoint, gave them a project plan which is specific to their need and priorities, and also help them with license cost negotiation methodology, which added another 10% discount for their Oracle license purchase for their database upgrade project, and also provided tools and suggestions in terms of tools and technology that they can adopt for their future IT growth they are forecasting. This was possible only by doing a one-on-one session with them, help them understand through the 30-point questionnaire which we have for database upgrade in specific, and we went through that and help the customer to save cost from database upgrade project plan standpoint, which includes project plan, license cost negotiation, and licensing best practices put together as a package, and that's complimentary too. So if you have any questions, we would like to take that out right now and hear from you. Even if there is any feedback or suggestions, please do feel free to let us know. And here's my email ID. I'm the Oracle point of contact for Atlas Systems. Anything that you would like to have, feel free to reach out to me, and I can definitely help you with a one-on-one session with Jim, myself. We can help you understand based on your priorities what's good for you and your environment and how it could take it forward. Thank you. Questions? Looking forward to hear for that.